Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So before we dive into today's episode, which is breaking down The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 14, the highs and the lows, the girls are fighting and feuding. And I mean, if you are an OG Candy Cane, you know that I have been saying this since episode 1. I think Boz isn't going to be the big boss we think she is. That also, yes, it's Kyle's reckoning season, but I don't think it's Dorit Kemsley to be the person to give her that reckoning. What's going on with Sutton and Garcelle and Erica and Jennifer and Kathy, we are going to get into all of it. So before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's go. Okay, so let's first talk about Boz, because I feel like that's the big hot topic. To me, she's a no. She can be a one and done. She's flat. I feel like her alliance and allegiance and weird being like a bulldog for Dorit, it's old and it's tired. She hasn't really given anybody else a chance to really become friends with her. And I think her going to Kathy Hilton's house, who is obviously Kyle's sister, and being like, oh, I think Kyle is cold and she hasn't really opened up to me and about your sister. I thought that was whack as hell. I was like, what in the Lisa Rinna are you doing, Boz? The dynamics between the Hilton sisters, the Richard sisters, has been strained on and off, and all of that going on with their family dynamics, and you think it's your place to go to her sister's house and trash her sister, but yet you thought it was so horrible for Sutton to say that Dorit was acting like a bitch for insinuating that she was an alcoholic in her own home. Where was your couth then? Where was your decorum then? I don't know. I just feel like Boz is like, I find her to be insufferable. Like, I don't know what she is. Like, she takes every situation as if she's like some corporate baddie in the corporate world, but like it's not translating on the screen. It's not translating as a real person. I'm not even sure that translates in the corporate world. I'm not really sure how that was even landing for her. So for me, I don't know. Boz is a no for me. I think that Garcelle was spot on when she was like, stop being Dorit's spokesperson, because it was getting to be really ridiculous. And there's been a bit of conversation backlash around that, where Garcelle's like, okay, Boz, you're being Sutton's spokesperson. Calm down. But then everyone's like, oh, but Garcelle is Sutton's spokesperson. I look at it differently. I think it's apples to oranges, because when Garcelle would stand up for Sutton, it would be in the context of conversations and conflict and relationships and friendships that Garcelle was a part of. When they did the flashback to Garcelle saying to Dorit, when Dorit was like, oh yeah, Sutton, we heard that you hooked up with the driver and all that stuff. And Garcelle was like, wait, no. You're saying this to embarrass her, but that's not how we said it. She was referring to a situation that she herself was in. She had context in it. Garcelle and Erica and Sutton were the ones who had the conversation about Sutton hooking up with the driver. So Garcelle was inserting herself into a situation that she was privy to, versus Boz, who doesn't know anybody. She doesn't even know Dorit, if we're being honest, has no backstory, has no relevancy, has zero context, and keeps inserting herself. The only person she's been kind of nice to other than Dorit is Erica, because Dorit and Erica get along. And it's really weird. It's bizarre. That's also another reason why I don't agree with people saying, oh, Garcelle's a hypocrite. She stands up for Sutton. Why can't Boz be friends with Dorit? The core difference in that also is Garcelle also has friendships outside of Sutton that she's open to getting to know and to facilitate. Yes, obviously Garcelle and Erica have had their beef with the bots and all that stuff, but that was with like Lisa Rinna and Diana. But she was open to getting to know Erica. She was open to getting to know Kyle. She was open to getting to know Jennifer Tilly and to Kathy and everybody else. She's been open. She was even open to getting to know Dorit. They had their little back and forth, but it was because of their own beef, not because of Boz, not like how Boz is like not being nice to all the other girls simply because of Dorit. Like, Boz and Kyle should not have a beef. But yet Boz wants to go to Kathy and be like, your sister is basically a bitch. She's cold and she's nasty. Like, I don't know why Boz is picking that beef and is like to Garcelle and is being mean to Sutton too. Like, that to me is the core difference. Garcelle has had friendships outside of Sutton that are genuine, and also beefs outside of Sutton that are genuine beefs on her own behalf, because she's beefing with Erica, because she's beefing with Dorit or whatever the case is, because of their own interactions. Whereas Boz is beefing with everybody on behalf of Dorit, not because of her own interactions. So to me, they're apples to oranges. I just see everybody being like, and I know not my candy canes because you guys are critical thinkers, but I just see everybody being like, oh, you know, Garcelle and Sutton, blah, 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 all that crap. And I'm like, y'all stop. Just stop. Anyway, that's kind of how I land on the Boz and Dorit and Garcelle and Sutton of it all. Now, Erica Jane. Erica Jane, to me, she this season is literally just a bone carrier. She's not giving storyline. She's not giving personality. She's just giving, I heard this, I'm carrying the bone. I heard this, I'm carrying the bone, which is fine. You know, every cast needs a bone collector and a bone carrier to say, girl, Dorit said this, Kyle said that, Boz said this and this, to carry the bone back and forth. That's cool. I basically think Erica is like, I need a season off. Y'all have been on my back with the Tom Girardi mess. I'm just coasting. I'm just getting my check. I'm going to be a bone collector. I'm going to be in the corner. It's not me for once. So fine, Erica, I'll give you a pass to be the bone collector. Other than that, Erica isn't giving anything. She's not. Like, what is she giving other than collecting and carrying bones? So that's fine. Be the bone collector, Erica. Sit in the corner. Now, Sutton. Let's talk about Sutton real quick. Now, my thing with I personally love Sutton. I think she's a vibe. I think she's a mood. I think she's really fun. Let's talk about Sutton and her mom, Reeba, and all of that. I thought that was really super touching, how her mom is now saying I love you to her, and how they're opening up and they're talking about their feelings, and they're really, you know, having more of a authentic, meaningful mother-daughter relationship. Now, again, not my candy canes because you guys are critical thinkers, but like on TikTok and on Instagram, people are like, oh my gosh, you know, I can't believe Garcelle went to Sutton's house. That's a plantation. Reeba is racist. She was so mean to standoffish to Garcelle. Number one, I don't think Garcelle felt that Reeba was racist towards her at all. I think she felt that Reeba was maybe cold, maybe a little standoffish, but I don't think it had anything to do with Garcelle's race. I think that's just Reeba's personality due to the trauma that she's had. And that's came out on the show. And I also don't think Reeba's racist at all. I think that Sutton and her mother have had at times a contentious relationship. I mean, look at their family history. Her father took his own life, and, you know, there's been a lot of tragedy. Her mother is 82 years old. You know, that's post World War II. You know, that's the world she grew up in. She's a Southern woman, and her mother has had her own trauma and tragedy. So I just took Reeba as sort of like an old Southern woman. I didn't take it any other way than that. I also think the reason why Reeba was a little standoffish to Garcelle during the first meeting when Garcelle gave her the scarf was because Garcelle and Javi, they were all kind of like, and even Sutton, not so much Kyle. Kyle was way more relaxed, but they all had a little weird energy towards her, like tiptoeing around, like, hi, like, hi, Reeba, I got something for you. And Reeba's like, well, what is it? Like, why are you, like, is it a snake? Like, why are you acting like that towards me? And by weird energy, I don't think that Garcelle was being negative or mean or anything bad. I just think that because Sutton had been saying, you know, her grievances, like, my mom doesn't say that she loves me, I don't feel like she's proud of me, and it makes me sad and it hurts me, and this is how my mom is, then I think they came to meeting Reeba with preconceived notions, already with their guard up. So that was the energy they brought to her. And so she's just kind of like, well, what did you get me? Why are you acting like this? Why are you tiptoeing around me? Like, what? You know what I mean? And that's just human nature. When someone that you love and care about is venting about someone that's hurting them, when you meet them, you might come to them with a particular type of energy. And that's more of what I saw. Not that Reeba is like some racist Southern woman. I didn't get that at all. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I saw a lot of that going around. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I think the conversation that Garcelle then has with Reeba, where Reba's like, well, that's none of your business. When Garcelle's like, well, Sutton wants to hear that you love her. She wants to hear that. Maybe you could say that. And she's like, well, you don't know my relationship with my daughter. It's none of your business. I also didn't take that any other type of way as like, well, it is what it is. It's almost like a therapy session, right? Where say a couple goes to a therapy session, or a parent and a child goes to a therapy session. And the therapist, in this case, would be like the Garcelle figure, says something that hits a nerve with the person, or says something that makes the person have to be more self-aware or to look at their role. They usually will be defensive or get angry or whatever the case may be to the therapist, the third party, which would be Garcelle in this situation. And then once that kind of goes away a bit, they kind of go, okay, well, I see what they're saying. I see where they're coming from. Because Reeba even says to Garcelle, so you're the messenger. And Garcelle says, yeah. And she's like, okay. And so, so she gets it. And then you see that conversation outside of it then becomes healing, where she does say, I love you to her daughter, where they are talking more, where she does understand where she's coming from. That's more of how I saw that whole situation. I didn't see anything bad or negative or anything like that. So yeah. Oh, hey, Miss T, how are you, sweetheart? That's right, you guys. As you come into the room, be sure to say hi, put your name in the comment section, share your questions in your comments, and we'll have a lot of fun conversation. Okay, so that's kind of where I felt about that situation. Now, let's talk about race again, not in a contentious or heavy way by any means. Ms. T says Garcelle shouldn't have jumped in. Now, this is the thing. I agree and disagree. So I agree in the sense of, me personally, I mind my business when it comes to other people's family business. So I agree with you on that one. Hey, Adam. Adam says, hey, Candy. Hey, Misty. Hey, sweetheart. So I agree with you on that one, Misty. I agree with you on that, because me personally, I mind my business when it comes to other people's family. I'm not inserting myself into my friend's family with their mother, with their sister, with their aunt, their uncle. No, thank you. No, ma'am, Pam. So I agree on that point. However, I do think that Garcelle, in this particular moment, when she did insert herself, one, I think she did it the right way, because she did get Sutton's approval. Like, Sutton knew she was going to do it. Sutton was okay with her doing it. I think if she had done it behind Sutton's back, that would have been one thing. But the fact that Sutton was like, okay, maybe you can get through to her, then that's fine. And then it ended up working out, but that also goes both ways. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, so there was that. Okay. Anyway, now let's get back to what I was going to say. Now, the whole race thing, it's not going to be too deep, guys. But I did want to make this point, and I want to know if you guys agree or disagree with me on this one. So the situation with Boz and people finally speaking up again, not necessarily against her, but speaking up about how they truly feel. Because I had said this before, where even in interviews and even on the episodes prior to this last one, it's like, oh, how was Boz? Oh, she's great. She's such a good addition. Yeah, she gets along with everybody. And I was like, that's a bunch of bull. Boz does not get along with everybody. She's not a good fit, in my personal opinion. I don't think she's a good fit. And I didn't believe them when they said it. It seemed very cookie cutter. It seemed very PR. Oh, she's great. She's wonderful. And I was like, yeah, right. I think that Kyle, and I also think Erica, whether she wants to admit it or not, I think Kyle and Erica and Sutton and Garcelle and basically all of the girls, to be honest with you, even Dorit, but Dorit doesn't want to admit it because Dorit finally has an ally. I think they all were kind of put off by how much she was up Dorit's butt. and how much her and Dorit are just like, yes, girl, yes, queen, yes, girl, you go, girl, yes, queen. Like this whole like cosplay of blackness, but like it's just bizarre. Like especially if you watch the after show, it's way too much. Like, yes, girl, like yes, queen. It's just like stop it. Like be normal. Like calm down. But I think that Erica and Kyle and Sutton, I think they were afraid to say anything to Bose because I think that they were afraid of being labeled racist. Like they were going against the new person who happened to be black. I think they were afraid to say anything to her because they were afraid to appear that way. That's just my gut feeling. And I also think a lot of people are afraid to say anything about Bose because there's some perception that maybe she has power in the entertainment industry. I personally don't think she's that powerful. I think she was a CMO for Netflix for about like a year, but that's just marketing. That's not really, she's just marketing Netflix. I don't know how powerful of a position that really is. And I know she does like events and talks and she's cool and all of that stuff. But I think there's this sort of perception that she's powerful in entertainment, but I don't know what power she actually has. Now, I do think her money's legit. I think her her husband who unfortunately passed away, I think that I think he left her with a lot of money, and I think she made a lot of her own money too in corporate. So I do think her money, I think she has good money, but just because you have money doesn't make you interesting because we still don't really know anything about her. So I think that those two things were going on. I think a lot of people were afraid to say how they really felt about her because they didn't want to be labeled racist. Not that it is racist, because it's not. You could be white and have an opinion about somebody who's black without it being racist. Or you could be racist. Like, hello. But I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that they were afraid of what it could appear to be, if that makes sense. Also, and this also I think happened with New York, but not with race, with like the whole, let's not even talk about New York. That's a whole different conversation. Anyway, I think that they were afraid to say anything to her. So I think those two things were going on. One, she had sort of had this appearance of power in entertainment. And two, they were scared. But when Garcelle, Queen Garcelle, because I'm Team Garcelle, 10 toes down all day, every day, spoke up and finally said what everybody in the room was thinking, when she looked at her and she was like, stop being Dorit's spokesperson. You saw it on Sutton's face. You saw it on Kyle's face. You saw it on Kathy's face. Everybody basically was just like, she said the quiet part out loud. And I think everyone thought that. And then once Garcelle said something to Bose, and it opened up the space for Bose to kind of tap in, because at this point she'd been tapped out. People weren't really engaging with her in any real authentic way. People were scared to sort of, go to town, to really tell it like it is, to really get in it with her. It was kind of like tiptoeing around her. But once Garcelle said the quiet part out loud, like stopping to read spokesperson, like, what are you doing? Then I think that gave the other women permission to speak up, because then you have Kyle who's like, yeah, like you came in there, you scolded us. You went to my sister's house, basically calling me a cold-hearted bitch, like that. She didn't say the B word, but that's basically what she said, when I thought we had some pretty good interactions. So what's that about? And I do think that you've been hard on me because of Dorit. You don't know the situation. You don't know my side. And to be honest with you, and again, I stand by it, I'm Team Kyle in this situation. I have been bio Kyle. I've been goodbye Kyle. I don't think anything absolves her of the stuff she's done in the past. I'm not forgetting that. But I'm also going to be in the present moment. And in this particular season, I'm Team Kyle. I think Bose needs to go. I think Dorit also needs to go. Ding dong Dorit, she's not hitting the way she thinks she's hitting, at least for me. I don't think Dorit being angry every single episode and saying, see you next Tuesday, and swearing at people and smoking and being insufferable, to me, that's not a queen. That's not a moment. That's not a beat. That's just a miserable person showing us how nasty and miserable she really is. Like, this is the real Dorit. She is a nasty person. If you really watch and look at her and how she talks to people and treats people, she's very nasty and very dismissive. Like when she was talking to Kyle, at the party, and she's like, oh, she was like, you need to talk and blah blah blah. And then Kyle started to say what she wanted, and then she goes, you don't have to yell. You don't have to yell. Like, that is some narcissistic gaslighting stuff, where it's like, you're going to say something really nasty to me. You're going to egg me on. And then when I respond, you're going to make it like I'm crazy. Like, you don't have to yell. And they're like, she's not yelling, she's talking. That's very nasty. And I was like, and that's why PK doesn't want to be with you. Because PK got sober, got clear, and realized the nasty piece of work he was actually married to. And how he basically went into bankruptcy and foreclosure because of you. Girl, bye. All the way, girl, bye. So yeah, I just kind of feel, that's kind of how I feel about, Garcelle and Kyle and Dorit and all of them. There was a report going, let's talk about Jennifer Tilly real quick. There was a report going around about Jennifer Tilly saying that the rest of the cast didn't like her. I don't think that report is true. I think that's a bunch of BS. I think Dorit, maybe Dorit doesn't like her, but who cares what Dorit thinks? I think Erica Jane likes her and wants her money. Kathy likes her, came to her defense. Bozoma doesn't really count because Bozoma is just up Dorit's butt. Obviously, Sutton loves her and Garcelle loves her, and I think Kyle too. So I think that report was a bunch of BS. I'm enjoying Kathy this season. I think she's fun. She's there. She's supporting her sister. She's doing the thing. I think she could be a little bit more supportive of Kyle. Like, I thought that her response to Boz in her home, calling her sister cold, was a bit lackluster. If it were me and someone was in my house speaking about a family member of mine, I would probably have had something a little bit more to say about it, and I would have shut it down a little bit more. But who knows? There's that. And so, yeah, and I'm loving Garcelle this season. I know some people are like, oh, Garcelle's doing too much, this or that. I don't think so. I think Garcelle's great. I think she's being herself. I think she's bringing it. She's being honest. She's asking the questions like she's always has. I like it. Oh, let's talk about Boz again, because I can't believe I forgot this part. Boz, girl. Am I the only one? But wait, first, let me preface this. Okay, for any new candy canes who may not know, my OGs know, but my new candy canes, when I say stuff, I don't mean to ever shame or be disrespectful or make light of anything when it comes to age or beauty or sexuality, but we talk about it. It's real. So we're going to talk about it. Everybody can get it. So when I say this, I'm not trying to age shame any or be insensitive to fertility issues that anybody may or may not have. But Boz, stop lying. Stop playing our faces, boo-boo. Boz is 47, 48, 49. She says during filming she's 47. By now, maybe she's 48 because we know that filming has already happened a while ago. I don't know when her birthday is. I think she just had a birthday, so she must be about 48 now. Girl, stop playing in our faces, acting like you really are trying to get pregnant with Keely. Naturally. Please stop playing in our faces. This whole Keely relationship, it's giving Kenya Moore, rent a boyfriend. It's giving Stacey Roosh from Potomac, rent a boyfriend. It's coming out that Stacey allegedly was paying TJ or AJ, whatever the hell his name is, TJ, to be her boyfriend, which I think, in my opinion, I think he's like an extra from Central Casting that she basically was paying to show up and film with her to be her fake boyfriend. I would believe that. Don't forget about the rumors that Kenya, what was his name? I forgot his name, but allegedly she was paying him to be her boyfriend. That was fake. The reason why I say that with Boz is, did you guys catch the scene she did with her daughter? And she's like, oh, remember when Keely just, showed up, and where did they go? Like Kenya or Ghana? Maybe, I think it was Ghana. Let's just pretend it was Ghana. Her and her daughter and her family were in Ghana. And she's like, and I had to quickly tell you, like, oh, this is the guy I'm seeing. And the daughter was like, yeah, he just showed up, and you like date. And I'm just like, none of this makes any sense. You're telling me that bad Boz is springing on her daughter that she's been seeing this guy seriously who just happens to show up in Ghana uninvited and books himself a ticket. I don't think so. Her personality, she's not going to do that. She's going to have made sure she vetted the guy with her daughter first and everything. Like, it doesn't make any sense. She's on TV talking about she makes her daughter do PowerPoint presentations for where they go for summer vacation, but you're not going to do a PowerPoint presentation about a guy that you are claiming to want to have a child with. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Also, you're telling me that you are going to go and get, fertility testing for him and for you and do all these things because you guys are talking about having a baby, but you've never said, I love you. You never said, I love you. You live in 2 different cities. He lives in San Diego. San Diego is a solid 2 to 4 hours away from LA. That's a long distance relationship. He lives in, so you're in a long distance relationship. He is about 50 himself, I think, around that area. He's on camera saying he wants 1 to 3 children. She's 48, 49. Talking about she's going to pop out a kid with a man she's never said I love you with a man who she just had to spring on her daughter that they were even dating, with a man she is not engaged to, does not live with. Girl, stop playing in our faces. This is fake. If it's not fake, it's stupid as hell. If you, literally, Boz, if this is not fake, you're dumb. I'm sorry, but you're dumb. You're dumb. And I'm not age shaming. I'm not fertility shaming by any means. Come on. But in the world we live in, when you hit 35, you're in a geriatric pregnancy. This chick is about to celebrate her 50th birthday, and she's saying she wants to bust out a kid with a man she's never said I love you to, who she doesn't live with, not engaged with. Come on. Come on. Boz, stop playing in our faces. Exactly, Miss T, dating less than a year. This is crazy. Exactly. Like, girl, bye. Like, please stop it. So I think those were all of my thoughts. Oh, Kyle. Let me talk about Kyle real quick. I have to say it. I said it before. I'll say it again. I am enjoying Kyle this season. I am. Because I have to be honest. When I think Kyle is messing up, I will hold her accountable. But when I think she's in the right or she's doing good, then I'm going to, be on her side. So when it comes to Kyle versus Dorit, I still stand with Kyle. I think the whole PK texting situation was nothing but a bunch of BS. I think Dorit was just milking that for all it was worth. I think Dorit apologizing to Garcelle a couple episodes ago, that was nothing but BS. The only reason why Dorit apologized to Garcelle was because Dorit wanted to get in Garcelle's good graces to see what Garcelle would tell her that Kyle is saying. Because if you noticed, right before that, it was Bozoma who told Dorit that Garcelle had told her that Kyle had read the text. And so that's why I think Dorit actually apologized to Garcelle, because she wanted to get in her good graces so she could milk Garcelle for information from the other side, if you see what I'm saying. That's what I think happened there. So yeah, I think I covered everybody. I'll drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat. No pressure. I know I was supposed to go live earlier, but I do the best I can, guys. Hey, Miss T. Missy says hello all. She goes, Garcelle shouldn't have jumped in. Hey, Adam. Missy says, Adam. Missy says, Boz needs to worry more about her own life, that odd boyfriend. Exactly. Sutton wanted Garcelle to do it 100%. Dorit is so happy to have a black friend. Miss T, yes. I agree 100%. Because Dorit is just using Bose 1,000%. Because also remember when Dorit was like, "Oh, like no, me and my family, we can't be racist. My mom has a black friend, and I have black and brown people who work for us." Remember she said that? Psycho. Hey, Adam. Adam says, I had high hopes for Bose, but she's been the biggest letdown. When Bravo gave the London access, when Bravo gave London access to the after show, I was like, oh my God, I can't. I told you. It's too much. And I even think Dorit is kind of weirded out by it, but she's not going to say anything. It's too much. It's too much. Hey, Mancy says, hello, relatively new sub. Welcome to the Candy Cane gang. Adam says, Dorit was her own person in season 7 and 8, but ever since the dog drama, she's been frustrating to listen to. I agree. Miss T says, this baby talk is wild, 100%. Adam says, Garcelle isn't my favorite, but she's a realist. All those Bose comparisons are pathetic. Garcelle would never be a minion to Dorit. I agree with that 100%. I don't get the Garcelle and Bose comparisons at all. I think it's apples to oranges. Garcelle has always had her own personality, her own point of view. If she likes someone, she likes them because of who they are. If she beefs with someone, it's because of a beef that she personally has with them. Unlike Bose, who beefs with people on behalf of Dorit. Like, who does she think she is? This is Giving Bad Actor. Hey, Adam, you want to share?
Hi, Candy. How are things?
I'm good.
This is crazy. This is a mess. I don't even know what we watched or even what this was. Like, this outrage that Dorito has for Sutton, yet Dorit knows exactly what she was doing with that whole comment, and the production company tried to show a flashback of Garcelle mentioning it, but it's one thing when your friend says something to you, but when someone who's been a menace and has been pretty nasty is trying to point something out for the sake of causing a moment, there's a difference. And I also just think that with the whole situation with the format of the show has just been off this whole season. Like, I think they needed, at least one other cast member, but I don't want to see someone being someone's, I hate to say it, someone's lapdog. To me, that's what Bozoma is. And as I was saying in my comment, I constantly it's just see this facade that Dorit's this queen and that Garcelle and Sutton are the bad guys. Like, she's not a straight up person. Bozoma doesn't even have the decency to say to Kyle herself, I find you cold. That I would respect if that was the case, but to go to someone's sister, I mean, I don't know if that's ever happened, because to me, I don't have that personally because I don't have siblings, but I would never go to my friend's brother or sister and be like, yeah, I'm really having issues with your way that your brother's acting of late. To me, that's just a bit weird. I get it if you've kind of known them both from childhood at the same time, but
normal people don't do that. Bose was just being a weirdo. I don't get it. And the thing is, I personally, like I said earlier, I personally don't insert myself in families. So it's like, even if I have an issue with someone, I would never go to their family member about it.
Exactly.
Like, Bose was just completely weird and out of line. And also, it's like, you don't even know Kathy Hilton. So, like, I don't know why you go into Kathy like you know her like that. Weird.
It was it to me, it's not only just kind of weird, it's that she gave off this whole persona that she's this straightforward stand-up person. That's not what a stand-up person does. Like that's ridiculous. And to me, I think I agree with you. I think her money's legit and what have you, but she kind of has a weird kind of track record. Like on her LinkedIn, all the places that she's worked at, the duration's not long. It's kind of a swap over all the time. So I don't know. If I was Netflix or one of these companies, I would be. I'd be cautious when it comes to hiring someone like that who only lasted me for less than 2 years. Like I would want someone for the long term. But
I agree.
But one thing is also to me that kind of stood out is that with the whole Jennifer Tilly thing that we were talking about earlier, I don't believe that to be true, because if that was true, then I think we've already seen, what are we, episode 12? So there's been no obnoxious remarks she's ever said. If anything, she's been probably the nicest person on that cast in terms of.
Jennifer Tilly is so unproblematic. Like, she's so unproblematic. I don't believe that report at all. I think it's a bunch of BS. But wait 1 second, because I did want to go back to this comment that Miss T made. So, production probably told Sutton an early call time to the party to watch the outcome. I agree with that. I think production might be playing some games. You know what I mean?
I watched the ET interview with Bryce Sander, and she said they did.
Yeah.
they told her to be the spokesperson.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think production told the women to gather at the entrance in order for all of them to talk about what was going on. And then for Bozoma, again, because she came late, didn't know what the hell was going on, storms up. It's like, why are you guys all up here? They're probably like, because production told us to sit here to get the shot, you idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they weren't just standing there for no reason. Like, there's lighting and there's cameras. They were standing there to get the reaction from the fight.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I wanted to get to Manzi says, in the after show, Garcelle said that she regretted saying the spokesperson comment the minute she said it because she's been accused of it. Yeah, I believe she said that. But at the same time, I think sometimes when people accuse you of things, whether it's right or not, it can give you a complex. So she probably has a complex about it, but I still think that I don't think Garcelle is Sutton's spokesperson. I think Garcelle is Sutton's friend. Whereas I think it feels more like Boz is Dorit's spokesperson because she doesn't have any legitimacy with having beefs with other people on Dorit's behalf. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And she also doesn't know any context. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't think she's the spokesperson at all. I mean, if anything, if you go, people were showing confirmations of the first 2 seasons. They were cool, Garcelle and Sutton, from the get-go. But there was, the whole time when Erica was going at Sutton saying about the lawsuits, or what, when Erica was going at her. Garcelle, at certain points would say, what's going on, but most of the time, Sutton was her own force, and Garcelle, did not interfere. Whilst this Bozoma woman hasn't even known Dorit for more than a hot minute, and it's almost like, yeah, we're best friends since pre-K. I don't know, like it's just that's the vibes they give off. And
agreed.
And to me, I saw Miss T's comment where Sutton was wrong. I mean, she may have been able to choose a better adjective, but Dorit was stabbing at something that Sutton's been transparent about. That's run in her family. That's been an issue, and for Dorit to call out her own weird husband of hers, of what he's going through, it's just kind of like she gives off such narcissism.
Yeah, I kind of felt like when she was like, you've called me a bee in my own home. I was like, well, then don't act like, if you don't want to be called a bee, don't act like a bee. Be a great, if you're going to host people, host them. Like, she was rude. Dorit was rude as hell to Sutton, and it's just like, in this situation, you are inviting people into your home. It's up to you to be a gracious host. If you're being gracious and someone disrespects you, fine, that's one thing. But if you're the host and you disrespect your guest and they match your energy, then what are you mad at? You know what I mean? Because I kind of felt like Sutton just matched Dorit's energy. She was like, "Oh, you coming at me for drinking? Well, I'm gonna call you out for how you treated me." You know what I mean?
Exactly, and it's kind of Sutton didn't do anything to warrant that even in the first place. Not that anyone should make mockery of that, but Sutton
Exactly.
literally said nothing. She was just chilling with a glass and having a cool time.
100%.
And to me, it's just kind of, I get it that Erica's having a chill one this season, and I like Erica and what have you, but I kind of think when Bose kind of entered the foyer of the house and was like, "Oh, cuddle her," like for Erica just to kind
When
of,
Bose is the one coddling Dorit every freaking scene. Sorry, go ahead.
I kind of wish I wanted to see Erica snap at Bose. That's just what I wanted to see. I think kind of what you said about it. Kind of, I think in this culture,
Yeah,
with race, maybe there was the fears, and I think the psychology of what you were saying about how that's when Kyle and the rest of them felt they could speak up after.
100%. Once
I,
Garcelle said it, it opened the gate.
I kind of think that do you CMOs at most places? I mean, could both, like for example, take down Erica's career, because obviously Garcelle's already well established, but Erica's trying this Broadway thing. Like, does Bozoma have the power to take down Erica's career? Like,
No.
exactly. So she shouldn't be afraid.
No, she shouldn't be afraid. I think it's more like to be honest with you, I think it's more of they were afraid to say anything to Bose because one, they don't really know her. You know what I mean? And then
Yes.
number two, I do think that there's this perceived like image that she has about being this corporate boss with Netflix and everything. So maybe there's this perception she's connected. And then also I think in this climate, they're scared to say anything because they don't want to be perceived as being, racist. Like I had this issue myself when with New York with Roni when it came to Uba versus Bryn. I was just like, I think Uba is really hostile and she is mean and she's nasty and she is a bully. And I was like, I'm gonna say this and I guarantee you people are gonna call me a colorist. And people did. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but I was like, but I'm gonna say how I feel, what it is, whatever it is. So I think in this climate, people are very afraid. And even with the whole thing with like, and again, that's not me defending Bryn, because I think Bryn also has a lot of problems and needs a lot of help, a lot of mental and emotional help. I think she's been through a lot and she's got a lot of issues going on. I think both of them are wrong, but for different reasons and in different ways. So by no means am I defending Bryn. But I think that sometimes when, when you speak out against a person, not against, but you just speak out with your thoughts about a person that may not be favorable.
You share your opinion, yeah.
Your opinion, that's not the trendy thing to share. Like, for example, even with like Paige DeSorbo on Summer House, I personally don't like Paige either. I don't like Paige. I think she's flat. I think she's a mean girl. I think she was using Craig. But if you speak out against Paige, you are the misogyny. You're not a feminist. You hate women. You're a jealous woman. How dare you speak against Paige, the Giggly Squad? So I think that whenever you speak out, that's not the quote trending cool thing to say. There is a fear of being labeled something that you're not.
I think kind of with this kind of, that's the problem. I'm all for a lot of the things, but to me, just kind of this hidden passage that we can't go down, saying things about Chanel Ayan's budget cousin or about Bozoma. Like, to me, as long as you can say something constructive and spell it out, then that's fair play. I mean,
And yeah, I mean, this point that SW made, I mean, for that is just bang out of order to make anyone wait so long. I mean, that she did not have to go to that house. In fact, like she went there to be kind, because
Exactly.
because like it unlike Dorit and Kyle, Sutton actually lives in the in Bel Air.
Yeah, which is an amazing, beautiful neighborhood. I agree. I want to go back to what Miss T says. She says Bo should have just talked to Kyle. I agree 100%. And this is where I think Bose is such a hypocrite, because she's like, on all the after shows and all her confessionals, when she's a confessional warrior, she's like, oh, are we like in high school? Like, are we juvenile? I have to pick a side. I can't be friends with Dorit. I have to pick a side. Everybody wants me on their side. Number one, nobody wants you on their side, Bose. They just want you to leave them alone. But Kyle made a really good point where she was just like, yeah, it's really like juvenile, very immature, that Bose is the one who's actually picked a side. Like, she basically said, I'm on Dorit's side, and therefore I'm going against anybody that's not on Dorit's side. So that's actually what's really juvenile and very, very immature. I don't know. Bose, to me, she's just not it. She's not it. She's just not it at all.
I think the other thing to me is that she's just made it hard for people to be invested in her. Even and even Robin from Potomac was opened up more about, and she was far from transparent when it came to her finances and what was going on behind the scenes. I mean, but that was thanks to Giselle, but that was, a real, true friendship. But this is just phony, and this is just not it. And to me, as I said, with Beverly Hills, they've kind of just messed up with the format of the show. In all the other years since the show got really big, since season 6, they've had 7 proper full-time housewives. And to me, the dynamic is not it with Dorit. The dynamic's not with both. And Kathy's hardly there. I would have liked to see more of Jennifer Tilly. And I just think it was just I hate to say it, but both to me was just a tick a box card.
100%. I think after all of the flops they had, like all of the stuff with Lisa Rinna, with Diana Jenkins, with the bots and all that, since that whole darkness, they've been trying to like find their footing back. And then when Anna Marie was such a flop, oh my God, she was such a flop.
How does she even make casting is what I want to know.
Yeah, seriously. And now she's like suing the
nurse.
Like, she's just her and her husband just need to go away. They need to take that lawyer money for his essayist lawsuits instead of trying to sue like the nursing people. Like, how stupid and how pathetic. Like, why are you suing them? Like, nobody is even thinking about you, girl. Bye.
I also think the other thing that's kind of beyond is with Bozoma, the way that she has the audacity to speak to these people like they're her underdog back at Netflix or whatever. I just feel like she doesn't speak to someone like they're their counterpart.
And I don't think she did that good at Netflix. She was only there for less than 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a good sign.
That's what I was saying. When I checked her LinkedIn, and the duration of her roles, she hasn't been at a role for really that long consistently. She changes every single 3 years odd.
That's not good in corporate.
And to me, like, I just don't know. It's just so.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
It's just so weird. But she just speaks to people. When it was kind of weird, because one of my friends was telling me this, like, with one of their colleagues at work. It was like, we're on the same wavelength. Don't like speak down to me like you're my boss. Like, don't like order me. Like, it was just like.
That's why I lived when Kyle was like, okay, Judge Judy. I was like, exactly. And like,
Yes.
you came and scolded us. Like, nobody wants to be like told what to do. Like, why are you sitting at the entrance? Because they want to be like, who are you, Bose? I don't get it. And I don't get the people who are like, oh, Bose and Dorit's friends, the friendship we didn't know we needed. Like, nobody needs that friendship. Nobody wants it.
And nobody, if Dorit got fired tomorrow, no one would cry about her. I really don't think people
I
would cry.
hope not.
And I know you kind of like her husband, but the husband,
I
you know,
like to say I do.
he's not welcome over here. I mean, he's the amount of time he leaves Dorit, I don't know. Maybe he comes over back to London, but no one in the UK business market gives a single breath of fresh air when it comes to him. They're like, we want you as far as away. But other than Beverly Hills, I was just gonna say, you mentioned the Summer House earlier.
Yeah.
I think episode was actually better than the majority of what Beverly Hills has given. I was really shocked by it, and
I think I'm gonna cover Summer House and Southern Charm.
And like, to me, I just think right now the Bravo world has kind of just had a flop. I mean, in the UK, you'll get it on Peacock. We have the UK version of Love Island, and that you know, in terms of entertainment, was on a different level and what have you. But now reality's just been really it's just been quiet. I mean, after Lisa Barlow is now off TV, which is a shame, because to me that was the pro entertainment. Salt Lake City kind of gave us the energy that we wanted from these other shows, but it's just kind of a slow horse game. And I know that there's this whole thing of that Vanderpump will come in the summer and what have you, but as it currently stands, I'm not interested in watching Portia and Friends. I mean, are you?
You mean with Roa?
Yeah, that's given Portia and Friends.
Yeah, I'm not watching Roa. No, thank you.
And as much as we may disagree, without Kenya and Nene, that show is going to suffer. Like, that's just how it is.
Well, Kenya's evil. Kenya, I don't like Kenya. Kenya's evil to me. But like, even Potomac was so bad and boring and horrible. And it's just like, that was just really hard to watch. Married to Medicine is also hard to watch. Don't even get me started on Heavenly. Don't even say her name. But I think what Bravo is doing now, I think they're in the midst of development. I think they're developing a lot of shows now. Like, they're supposed to be doing like a Real Housewives of Seattle, Rhode Island. They're bringing Toronto back.
Is Rhode Island really like? Well, it's like expensive.
Like Rhode Island, Connecticut.
Because I know of Connecticut because of Greenwich, Connecticut, and what have you. But is Rhode Island like
canon?
Is there like lots of wealth there, or is it kind of just a small kind of?
No, there's wealth there. I think there's probably like pockets of it, but there's pockets of wealth everywhere, unless it's you know what I mean?
For sure. But it's just kind of like when you think of places like I think the states that they've covered, I was like, yeah, they covered the main cities, but Seattle will be interesting because obviously that's Microsoft space.
I think Seattle would be interesting. I'm looking forward to I think Toronto will be good. Well, they're bringing it to Bravo from whatever. There's like, I forgot.
Toronto will be be interesting. I don't know kind of what happened the first time, but I would have liked that because
I watched the first season. I watched like all of the Housewives. It was really good. It was really good.
I because like, to me, because what we don't have in kind of in London, what we don't kind of have is kind of the same magnitude of the size of homes that you see on these shows.
Aren't you guys doing? They're doing a Real Housewives London.
Yeah, they're good. They're doing it, but you won't see the same kind of style, like, unless they kind of recruit like with Ladies of London, like some of the cast members didn't even live in like proper London. Like that, I hope they actually like focus purely on London, because that was the same point that that PK flopped with, because he did a show about London, trying to sell it as London property, but they were out of London homes.
Yeah.
so I hope that they kind of like do what they do with New York, keep it in New York. But then again, in Beverly Hills, as Lisa Vanderpump and Camille Grammer jokes, it should be called Real Housewives of the Valley.
Yeah.
But in terms of Summer House, I think the U girl seems interesting.
I think she's on the wrong show. Like I've been seeing a lot of things like Lexi is very like Love Island. Like I agree. I think she should be on like a Love Island, maybe on the new Vanderpump Rules reboot, like something like that. I don't see her as a Summer House person.
Yeah, I like, to me, I only kind of got into Summer House in the last, I would say, 7 months, because like no one in the UK literally ever talks about it. So it was thanks to you and Natasha. I was like, okay, what is this show? Let me check it out. Yeah. But are you into that weird kind of budget looking Vanderpump Rules, that Southern hospitality thing?
I do watch Southern Hospitality.
Is it actually decent, or does it actually come out as a budget Vanderpump Rules?
It's good. I think it's good. I mean, I think it's good background. Like it's not groundbreaking. It's a lot of crying. It's a lot of my boyfriend's cheating on me, but I'm not going to admit it, or this person hooked up with that person. It's very rinse, wash, and repeat. It's not groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination. But it's not bad.
I see.
It's not dark. It's not dark. Like the darkest it goes is like, oh my God, her boyfriend hooked up with this guy in the bathroom. Oh my God, can you believe it? Like that's the darkest it goes. So it's not that dark.
I hope when it comes to the rest of these shows, though, that they actually see the mistakes that these other shows have made and be like, let's learn from this. Because we don't want these Bosomas. We don't want these types.
Oh
like,
God.
Because to me, like the peak of Bravo from what I've seen was the 2017 days. Like that was like how long ago that was kind of the peak. Like to me, because it's kind of weird, because over here we never got Bravo as like a TV channel or whatever. We had E, but we never had Bravo. So kind of we only got your shows in the UK about a year or year and a half after they aired your way. And it was kind of like, oh, so you guys have already seen that. And so it was never kind of on the same wavelength. Whilst when I was younger, when I used to watch shows on E, which is crazy to say nowadays, that I could like watch it at the same time that it was airing your way. But it was kind of weird I don't know if is that because Bravo wasn't a big network back in the early 2000 teens or something?
I don't know. That's like an NBC question. But I think I'll say this, and then I'll let Tay Tay. Hey Tay Tay, I'll let you weigh in. I think when it comes to what's going on with like Bravo and the shows and people not working, I don't think it's a casting issue, because the cast has no power. I think it's a production issue. I think that they need to shake up the production companies, because the production companies are the people who have the power to cast, to bring the talent to the executives to have the official, because Andy Cohen doesn't even have the power to cast. Andy Cohen cannot fire you. He cannot hire you. He's basically just like a figurehead. So I think it's more
is this title a vanity thing, because it says executive producer and
but not all executive producers have the power to cast.
Oh, so it's kind of a vanity thing.
He lost that power a very long time ago. It's perception versus reality. Like in reality, Andy Cohen, if you look it up, he does not have the power to hire or fire housewives, but the perception is that he does. He's a figurehead, basically. So I think it's more of like a production problem. They need to find the right the right boots on the ground production team that can find good talent to cast and vet these people. Because who picked Bozoma? Who picked Anna Marie? Who picked Dirty Diana Jenkins? Like, what the hell? Like, it's bad. But go Tay Tay, you share, sweetheart.
Oh, hi Candy.
Hi,
Hi
love.
Adam. What's up?
Hi.
So, I enjoyed this episode. You know, like if I didn't really watch the video, but just wanted to get your thoughts earlier. But Bozoma, you said it before. You know, she's the lead spokesperson, and I think this week pretty much shows that when Sutton got upset about Dorit coming down 40 minutes late, and then Dorit all of a sudden getting attitude. I mean, Sutton has every right to call Dorit a bitch. Straight up. And I said this on Twitter.
Yes,
that,
don't say that on my platform, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. But Garcelle, everybody, I said on Twitter that people be ducking on Garcelle for being some spokesperson. Better keep that same energy for Bozoma being Dorit's spokesperson. Because, as we've seen, when Sutton and Dorit are getting into it, Bozoma chimes in. But I also saw a video earlier today, and when Garcelle finally spoke to Bozoma one-on-one, that means that gave everybody the go to say how they really feel about Bozoma and Dorit. Because whenever the ladies say anything bad about Bozoma, they'll be labeled as a racist, they'll get canceled, all that stuff. I love Jennifer, Sutton, and Garcelle in the after shows.
Yep.
I heard that Kyle and Dorit dislike Jennifer for whatever reason. They want her gone. Kathy Hilton is a vibe. Erica Jane, whatever. And you said it yourself, I think Dorit is a nasty person, and we're starting to see the true colors of Dorit.
Yeah, I've been saying,
especially this episode.
I was telling everybody, I was like, Dorit is nasty. He's nasty, and we seeing it. Yep.
Yeah, and Kyle, I don't think she has opened up this season until this episode. I don't think she has opened up this season. Like, I always felt that she's been cold. So I'll give Bozoma that credit. But again, both of them could be true at the same time. So I'm trying to be fair. When it comes to the Kyle and Dorit, both things can be true about each other.
Yeah, but I think at this point, like, it's honestly just Dorit at this point. Kyle is like, I'm trying to move on, I'm trying to get over it, and Dorit just won't let it go because she needs the storyline.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And because she never this is my thing when it comes to that. Dorit never liked Kyle, and she doesn't like Kyle. She's used Kyle for cover on the show. And so to me, I'm like, don't act like you're so up in arms over your quote friendship with Kyle when you never really liked her in the first place. And a big reason why I think Erica is so quiet when it comes to not picking a side, it's like, I don't know if you ever seen that meme going around. It's like, people can't cheer for you publicly because of the way they spoke about you privately. I think it's like that. I think Erica talks trash about Dorit to Kyle. I think she talks trash about Kyle to Dorit and Lisa Rinna. And so she can't really be anything other than Switzerland without exposing herself for being two-faced.
Yeah, that's what I feel about Erica.
Yeah.
And the same thing could be said about Kyle using Dorit for cover for seasons. Because let's forget, when
How?
Lisa
How did Kyle use Dorit for cover? For what?
Yeah, please explain.
Because Kyle always has had more power than Dorit.
She had the Nat as a cover-up person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She hasn't used cover that's not what cover means. What I mean by cover is Dorit has used Kyle for cover in the sense of she's been friends with her. She kind of goes under the radar. She's been her right hand, part of the Full Facts 5. Cover in the sense of she knows that Kyle has power with the executives on the show. If she's in Kyle's good graces, she has the cover of the grace, the halo effect, in order to continue to go from season to season without being fired or without really being attacked. That's why
Kyle's literally friends with the producers on the show.
Exactly. And so, and Kyle has gotten other people off the show. She got Camille off the show. She got Carlton off the show.
Yes.
So cover, it's an issue of power. So Kyle cannot use Dorit for cover because Dorit has no power to cover Kyle. Now, what Kyle has done is used people as her mouthpieces. She's used Teddy as her mouthpiece. She has let Dorit do her dirty work and say things on her behalf, but that's not cover. Those are two different things. And it's also a trade-off. Dorit was willing to be Kyle's minion and mouthpiece at times and her yes person in order to get cover from Kyle. That's what that dynamic is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm talking from from a political standpoint that Dorit has stayed on the show because if you remember, Teddy Milliken got fired, Dorit stayed on the show. Lisa Rinna got fired, Dorit stayed. Anna Marie got fired, Dorit stayed. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, whenever political power from behind the scenes,
Dorit has just been the lesser of two evils until it got to the point where there was nobody left. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's lucked up because Lisa Rinna was so awful, because Anna Marie was so insufferable, because Diana Jenkins was so evil, because Teddy was so insufferable. She was just the lesser of two evils. But then once they kind of cleared house, everyone was saying how production was saying to Dorit, if you don't bring it, then you're out. You're going to be demoted or you're not going to be on the show anymore. Then all of a sudden, she wanted to feud with Kyle, who she never had a problem with before. Now she's so angry with her. Now all of a sudden, PK is a raging alcoholic. Now all of a sudden, he's a horrible dad. All of a sudden, they're going through a divorce. All of a sudden, she's calling people see you next Tuesday and smoking, saying the F word, because production put her on notice. And because she no longer had Kyle's cover, she had to actually step up. And now she's going to war with Kyle. And that's what I mean by Dorit. I don't really respect her when it comes to her versus Kyle, because you used Kyle for cover. And sure, Kyle used you too as a mouthpiece, but you guys are both using each other. Stop acting like you're so hurt and affected by anything Kyle has done. Where Kyle is like, let's just put this behind us and stop feuding. Whereas Dorit is milking it because production put her on notice saying you're going to be fired unless you step it up.
Yeah. Did you guys believe that Kyle and Dorit reconciliation was real? Because I didn't think so.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with SW here, with that Kyle did use Dorit as cover of not to talk about the situation. She used the drama and the different kinds of covers. From my standpoint, that's my point. From a political standpoint.
That's not cover. There's different types of ways that people can be beneficial, but that's not cover.
I mean, I think
that's not what cover is.
I think to me, I feel that I don't necessarily think any makeup or breakup, friendship, whatever, when they reconcile is fully authentic as it comes across on these shows. But I don't know. To me, what's scary to me is like Dorit has had the same tenure on this show now as Lisa Rinna. Like that's scary. I mean, Lisa Rinna may have been problematic in loads of ways, but at least she kind of gave 8 years worth. I mean, Dorit to me has just been a fly on the wall ever since this dog drama business. I mean, the whole of season 10, she only opened her mouth once, and that was it. It was just really out of just place. I mean, for this girl to have 8 years under her belt is crazy. I mean, she needs to be gone. I think quite frankly, with Beverly Hills, they need to kind of change at least 2 of the cast members, but they need to have 3 brand new people. They need to revamp this because this is not it. You know, from if you compare Beverly Hills prior to Vanderpump's departure to now, it is just really, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, with Orange County, those 2 are just they're insufferable. But I feel that 7 works, and you know, other than Sutton and Garcelle, since Lisa Vanderpump's departure, the rest of the cast members have had just been off a vibe. I mean, you had Crystal with that all these implications against Sutton. You had awful Diana, and not even going to mention Kyle's next door neighbor. But I just think this is not a vibe. I feel that, you know, when we got Beverly Hills, the majority of the cast actually lived in Beverly Hills. You know, fair dues to Garcelle, fair play. You know, she's been in the Hollywood game. That's fair dues for someone like her. But, you know, these Dorites and all these people that live in the valley, like, this is not what this show is about. It's like saying, not to throw shade in New York, but it's like having a someone who lives in the outskirts of New York on the borders of New Jersey saying they live this Manhattan lifestyle. It's just not really what it is.
Wait,
and I just think the reunion can kind of be here tomorrow. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
yeah. 1 second, Adam. So SW says that is cover. Use the situation to cover the actual situation. There is cover as help, and there is cover as non-disclosure. Those are 2 different things. The cover that I'm talking about is the cover that Kyle gave Dorit, as in she got to skate by. She got to skate by, not really doing that much, and she got the cover as in protection of Kyle being really close to the producer, having the power to influence casting and hiring and firing. That is the cover I'm talking about, protection. You're talking about cover-ups, like I'm going to cover up this situation or that situation. Those are 2 different things. Those are apples to oranges. Dorit does not have the power to give Kyle cover when it comes to Kyle keeping her diamond. Whereas Kyle gave Dorit the cover to keep her diamond, which is why Dorit has skated by. You know, she's been able to sort of just skate by, just like Nancy said, you know, those under the radar housewives have the longevity like Gina and Emily, 100%. So that's what I mean by that. Dorit does not have the power to give Kyle cover when it comes to her job. You're referring to cover up, like, let's talk about this situation instead of, like, let's talk about your divorce instead of talking about my divorce, or let's talk about your bankruptcy instead of talking about my fraud. Those are like cover-ups in like storylines and things like that. That's not what I was talking about. So those are 2 different things. I agree with what you're saying, that you can use someone to talk about something else to divert attention, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about cover as in having the actual power to protect. You're talking about cover up with diversions of conversations, if that makes sense. I hope that clarifies it a little bit. But yeah, but go ahead.
I think kind of to me, like with these shows, like I want to just see kind of, and it kind of with Beverly Hills, what sold it compared to the other franchises was that you saw kind of this out of life experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when like I saw, you know, Camille's Malibu house that had this priceless view, I was like, wow, that's wowzer. But you know, you kind of the storylines we have, like to me, I think Sutton's storyline is interesting, you know, having that kind of vibe with, you know, people get with their parents, some are closer to the dad, some are closer to the mom, some don't get on with their parents at all, was cool. But and I think I don't know if they kind of edited the other storylines, but it's kind of just a bit plain, and I just feel kind of just lackluster. And the dynamic between Dorit and her obese husband is just not a vibe. They make the Kardashians FWB relationships look normal. Like to me, other than Salt Lake City, nothing has been spectacular about any of these shows.
I even think Salt Lake wasn't that amazing. Maybe that's just me, but maybe it's because I'm not an Angie fan.
No,
Like,
I'm not a fan of Angie. I just like Lisa
Angie.
Barlow's. I just like Lisa Barlow's fierce dynamic. Like that was kind of, she spelled it out in and kind of gave me kind of like, yeah, not quite. It's not exactly like Lisa Vanderpump or your Nene Leakes, but it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this is someone who has a strong personality that is sustained, and it's going to be weird, kind of like with kind of like the other franchises, because you have Miami and Nicole's not returning.
Yeah, we got Stephanie instead. That's coming, which I can't wait for Miami. Miami's always delivered in terms of quality. I think it's right up there with Salt Lake City as the top tier housewife shows. Yeah. Is anybody, speaking of the reunions, is anybody watching the Potomac one? Because
I'm only watching because I want to wait and see when they say that Stacey was paying that man. So that's why I'm watching.
yeah, part one was great. You know, Mia got exposed as always, and here come Mia with them fake tears.
Mia is awful. And I think she kind of ruined Potomac. Like, not to be like elitist or anything, but like she darkened, she like dumbed down the show. Do you know what I mean? Like, she shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To me, she just was like plain. I kind of don't know. To me, it's just kind of like, yeah, I live in a penthouse, hooray! Like that's it. Like that was her personality, and kind of like we already had Ashley in her penthouse, and it was just like, okay, you're just trying to be like some kind of, again, like just like both. You can tell that Mia was someone who was like watching Housewives as like a dissertation for their college paper or something. I don't know. Like they were just studying too hard and kind of this overproduce.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Karen Huger and the video call?
Oof.
I would love to have Karen on the reunion to see get her hits on Mia, but I feel like Karen has shown her true colors. You know, I felt bad for like Wendy when she said that that when she found out like who Karen really was, when she didn't even Wendy wasn't even mentioned by Karen, and so what do you agree? Do you disagree with me on this?
I don't know. Wendy, to me, like she kind of floated where the wind goes, and when Giselle needed her, she was smiling. When even though Giselle made fun of her marriage, she kind of again is one of these types that just goes for the sake of convenience. And to me, I think maybe Wendy liked Karen, but I don't think they really were these true friends. It's not like, it's like that's kind of why, like, to take it back to Beverly Hills, the whole season 9 facade of why Kyle and Lisa Vanderpump did not speak, because they were proper true friends. They knew each other before the show even started. They want some random.
That was a disaster.
I don't think Karen and Wendy were really friends. I don't know, Candy. Do you think they were?
I mean, when it comes to Karen in general, I don't want her to go to jail. I don't, and I hope she gets, like, I don't know, probation, time spent, or house arrest. I don't know. I don't want her to go to jail. When it comes to Karen and Wendy,
Yeah, me neither.
I think Karen has always been very strategic. I think she knows she's on a TV show, and I think she knows how to play it. And I think that what she said about Wendy was true. I think Wendy is a bit delulu. I think Wendy is all about Wendy. And I think that Wendy, to me, is boring. Like, I think she has a lovely husband, a lovely family, but I'm not that interested in Wendy. And I think that Wendy, I kind of agree with what Karen said. I think Karen was just being strategic. She kept Wendy close. I think where she messed up was probably drinking too much, running her mouth, and she confided in the wrong people. Now, the real snake is Giselle, because Giselle likes to be in Karen's face. I love you, Karen. We're so close. But then when the moment Karen's not around, she does what she accuses Karen of doing. Oh, Wendy, Karen doesn't like you. She's been talking about you. Karen this, Karen that, blah, 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 blah. I don't like, it's really, that to me is the weirdest thing, where it's like, you act like you and Karen are so close and you love her so much and she's like a sister and all this stuff, but then you do to her what you accuse of her of doing to other people. Like, if you're really that ride or die with Karen, why were you even telling Wendy stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know. Exactly. Miss T says Karen has never seen it for Wendy. I agree. I think Karen just likes to have her allies, but to me, I'm not a Wendy person. Like, I think Wendy's boring. I don't need her on the show. Yeah, I'm not a Wendy person either. But also, I wouldn't pretend to be her friend. That's why I couldn't be on a reality show, because I can't be fake. Maybe I should be on a reality show. I'd be good TV. I'd be like one of those, like, real people. I don't know.
I mean, you could rock it with La La Ken. I don't know. Like,
nah. let's don't. I want to be with one from Utah. Nowhere, cause anytime, but like, all right. So speaking of Utah, what are your thoughts about the whole Salt Lake City reunion, New York reunion? I think the reunion.
New York.
I think I like New York. I like the New York reunion better than the Salt Lake City reunion. I felt like the Salt Lake reunion should have been 2 parts. The New York reunion did everything. They exposed me for who she is.
I couldn't watch New York. I mean, that was just bland, and that was
New York was a disaster.
And I'm sorry, but the whole show is not worth my time. Salt Lake City, Lisa Barlow was the MVP.
Yep, as she was.
Angie wants to pretend she is, but she's not.
Yeah.
And I think, to me,
yeah, I felt bad for Lisa Barlow. at the reunion.
I think
Wendy and Baldwin got.
I think the two
was doing too
women
much.
married to like granddads like can go. I mean,
Yeah.
one granddad wife couldn't even keep her house clean, and the other one was just a nasty person. I mean, not to mention the. Let me just say this in a cryptic way, but the nasty one who was messaging a blogger with the same name as me. You know, that's how dirty she was going about the things, and like, I don't know. To me, I think Salt Lake City, other than Lisa Barlow, I like Meredith, but Heather, I don't know if I would trust her. But I think to me, it's just kind of I want that, as I was saying to Candy before you joined, I want that 2017 kind of energy. When the shows were airing then, that's when there wasn't this over dramatic production buddy vibe, looking like let's be the best cast member for the producers.
Baldwin. Yeah. Do you believe that Baldwin was part of the reason why Britney hasn't been seeing her kids? Because I partially do believe that.
No, I think Britney's a liar. I mean, I don't think Bronwyn has the power to make Britney's kids not see her.
She might have.
I think Britney's full of it. I think I think she's weird. I think she's a weirdo. She was filming the girls. That was weird.
Yeah. I agree.
I think she's weird. I think she's a liar. I think there's a darkness to her that that people aren't seeing. Like, I think she pretends and fake cries, but I get a weird feeling about Britney. I think there's a real schizo darkness to her. I think there's a reason why her children weren't talking to her. She said it with zero emotion that she chose men over her kids. Didn't care. And then fake cried about it when she realized that, like, people were like, maybe that's not the best thing. And then her kids only started talking to her once she got on TV. Let's be serious.
Yeah. Wendy is a wacko. Baldwin's too much, you know. Her going on internet, going after Bravo and Blaze was not cool. Yeah. And like I said, I felt bad for Lisa Barlow that these ladies have screwed her over time after time again.
I mean, as unbearable as it is, if I could only get rid of two of the women, I would choose the two granddad wives and keep Angie. If I just wouldn't want to see Bronwyn again. To me, you can't even keep your house clean. Something's not right.
Yeah, Scubby and dog poop.
I would keep Bronwyn and get rid of Angie and Whitney.
Yeah, I give it to Britney. Maylee's out. Maylee's gone.
I don't even remember who Maylee is half the time. Like, she was barely even there. Like,
yeah, give it Britney. Get rid of Whitney. Give it Britney. Get rid of Whitney. You know, probably keep the rest. Mary, best of Mary that we've seen in all of Salt Lake City, all of seasons. Loved her this season, and I agree with Mary. You know, Britney is a liar. You know, and our Britney's gone too. Go to Presidio and go to Songs SLC. Do what you gotta do.
I started watching that. That was interesting.
Oh, yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Tell me.
I think it's a decent show, but to me, it's quite. The characters are quite eccentric. They're very out there. That Matt guy.
Yeah, Matt was a lot.
But I think, to me, I don't think it will get renewed though. I don't think it. I highly doubt it. But with changing topic just back to Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Okay.
So do we see there being any 180s that this Bozoma woman actually has the decency to be like, yo, Kyle, yo, Garcelle, yo, Sutton, I didn't actually hear you out? Or is she just going to be Dorit's lapdog for the whole season?
Yeah, fortunately, she's going to stay Dorit's person. I want to like Bozoma, but that's when she's
person. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really want to like Bozoma, but there's some things I rock with, some things I don't rock with. One of those things, Bozoma being Dorit's spokesperson is not it for me, and I had the same problem with Talene being Brooks' spokesperson. At least with Talene, she actually stood on her own and able to actually make friends her own way. But with Bozoma, like, we haven't seen Bozoma get to know Sutton. We haven't seen her try to know Garcelle. We haven't seen her knowing Jennifer Tilly. The only people she knows is Dorit and Erica. And that's the problem with Bozoma.
I just am grateful for Sutton, to be honest with you. I think Sutton, Erica, and Garcelle, to me, have just been the three that have been. Even though Erica's not had much of a storyline, I just think overall, for what she's not annoyed me. That the rest of the cast, like Kyle, hates to say it, but Kyle's been better than probably the most I've liked Kyle since the whole disaster went down in season 9. But that's kind of only by default. I just hope they, as I said, freshen this up, because they need to freshen this up. And I think
agreed.
And I think as Candy said, we don't want any person to just be a voice of reason when it's not even justified. Like, that is just not needed. And I think, quite frankly, they can get rid of Bozoma and Dorit, and with the future of Beverly Hills, I think having a dynamic cast to actually...
I think they should just keep Sutton, Garcelle, and Kyle, to be honest with you. And I think everybody else could go. And then they should bring in 4 other new full-time housewives. We can keep Jennifer, keep Kathy, and maybe a couple more friends of. But I think that would be the route to go, because Sutton and Garcelle are a vibe with anybody they add. And honestly, with you, I think that this season, even though I thought it would be the Kyle takedown season, for me, it's actually been Kyle's redemption season. Because I like Kyle now. And I never thought I would have ever said that.
You do?
I do now. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Well,
I do.
I was thinking that we add in LVP to kind of like try.
She's not going to come back. She's not going to come. She won't come back to a show that she's not a producer on. She's kind of... It's kind of like the idea of, even if Andy Cohen said to Kris Jenner, I'll give you $7 million for 2 years on the show, she would never join this show, even if she got paid $10 million, because she wants the control. She wants and it's not going to kind of happen. And I think I agree with Candy, but I would include also Erica in that. But I think those 4 and three brand new people, not Erica's friends, I think have someone that
maybe Garcelle or Sutton knows. And as I think, Kyle got us last year, which was a disaster. And I think Garcelle, Sutton, Kyle, and Erica, and I think then you've got your kind of retrospect. You have your OG, you have someone who joined in season 6, and you've got a dynamic duo from season 10, and you just need that fresh blood. So you kind of have that energy of authenticity of people across the, just Kyle and 2 season 10ers would just be, if they didn't have Erica, they would have to have someone back from the past. I kind of think it's just too much of the gap. And I think when you have obviously she's not in California anymore, but if they had someone like Yolanda or someone like that from Fair Play, but I think, to me, just fresh energy is what we all kind of need. And I just would like to know, to anyone who calls Dorit a queen,
well, they better do their research.
I'm sure you will know after a year that you've been terribly mistaken, because it'll probably take them a year, but no shade, because I'm never shady.
Yeah. Woof. All right, you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's getting late my way.
Samesies. Final thoughts, everybody. First, Adam, then Tay Tay. And thank you both. It's so good to see you guys and everybody in the chat box. It's so good to see you, Miss T. I love you. Thank you for holding me down. SW, you're the best. Welcome, Mancy. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Anna. How are you, sweetheart? Welcome, everybody. So yeah, you guys go ahead and sound off.
Okay. I would say thank goodness for Sutton, MVP of the season. Garcelle, I think, just even though we haven't seen much of her other projects that she showed in previous seasons, I just like her dynamic with Sutton. Would like to see more though of her, but her dynamic with Sutton's goals. Kyle, most likable since season 8, so it's been a while, but yeah. And Erica, I've liked the moments on camera that I've seen with her and Sutton this year. I think they've been in a more cordial space, and I think to me, seeing more of Jennifer Tilly would be cool. Kathy, don't know what's kind of happening there, but yeah, these two, Bozoma and Dorit, I just don't know how people are buying into this. You have only been friends for a hot second, yet you want to be the savior of Dorit and not have a personality. So unfortunately, you can be a one and gone, and Dorit, you've been 5 seasons overdue to go, quite frankly. I can't believe, as I said, she's made it to the same tenure as Lisa Rinna did. And it's crazy. But overall, this episode probably was the most out there of all of them, but I don't know, I'd just give it at best 7 out of 10. Yeah, that's my final thoughts.
Tay Tay, you want to sound off?
Yeah, overall, I'm enjoying this season. Soundtrack continues to carry RHOBH. You know, I love seeing Son and her mom reconcile this past week. Jennifer is a vibe. I don't know why the ladies are hating on her. They just jealous that Jennifer has the money and they don't. Dorit is too much for me. Bozoma, kind of disappointed this week. And the same is going to happen next week. Kathy Hilton is a vibe. Kyle, you know, I see her points when it came to her versus Bozoma and Dorit. Garcelle, I'm proud of Garcelle for sticking up for Sutton. Erica, I'm not feeling her. In my opinion, Erica can go. And I take Dorit with her.
Agreed.
Are any of you guys watching Some House right now? Because it's on right now, so
Yeah, we're about to go. We're about to wrap
I'm gonna
it
watch
up.
it after.
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow on Peacock. I don't pay for Bravo. You must be crazy.
Likewise, like
Yeah,
I don't have time to watch things live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to watch things live anymore.
No, ma'am. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, Tay Tay. Shout out to my wonderful people in my chat box, Miss T, SW, Nancy, and Anya or Anna. I'm so sorry. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Much love, Andy. Speak soon. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Sweetheart. As always, you guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's a free and easy way to support me in the show, and I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, everybody out there, please be safe. There's a lot going on in the world, so just slow down and be safe and take care of yourself. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye.